Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Dragon Lords video. This is Jaya reporting from the middle of the mountains in China at the Shaolin Temple. And today I just want to talk, right? So it's not going to be an edited video like what we always put out. It's not going to be, have any special effects or whatever. It's not really going to be edited. I think I just want to talk, right? And it's an interesting topic I figured that I want to share with you guys. So here I am. And we've never really done anything like this before, but I think it'll be interesting. And so if you guys are interested in what I have to say, then feel free to stick around. But first things first, we haven't uploaded, or I haven't uploaded in a while, right? So it's probably been a while. It's been a hot minute since you guys seen me and Shaolin stuff. So, things have been quite a little bit busy here, but we're having fun, we're training hard, we're meeting new friends, so all is well. So I just want to make sure you guys know that I'm not dead or anything. But now, moving on to the point of this video. So you've probably at this point already read the title, and before you guys think, oh my god, you betrayed the warrior spirit, how can you say that? Okay, hear me out. So, and by the way, just a little disclaimer, everything I'm about to say is my own personal opinion, formed from my own personal experiences here. So this isn't the gospel truth. This isn't me trying to tell you how to think. This is just how I think and my own opinions. So without further ado, let's get started. So why 8 hours of training a day may not be the flex you think it is? Why is that? And before I came here and I saw how things were, I always thought that, training 8 hours a day was a flex, right? I was like, oh my God, if you could train 8 hours a day, you're the true warrior, right? That's a flex, that's real Kung Fu. And, when I came here and I saw kind of the reality of things, I started having second thoughts. So I just want to share my thoughts with you guys. Now, if you remember my, first 3 months, I talked about how I felt like I wasn't learning as much as I could have, right? And I felt like that, some certain, I guess you can say, instructors were not really giving me what I wanted or what I was looking for. And, at first I was thinking, well, maybe it's just their teaching style or whatever. But in retrospect, I kind of figured this out on my own, and it kind of makes sense, right? Now, I just want to let you guys know some things about the Shaolin Temple. Now, these warrior monks, they're not born and raised in Shaolin. It's not like in the movies, right? They come in when they're like 4 or 5, like a little kid, and they live in the temple and they train with old masters until, they become adults. That's not really the case, actually. So all the Shaolin warrior monks in the temple came from outside. Now, in Dongfeng, the city closest to the Shaolin Temple, there are many, many Kung Fu schools, right? I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of Kung Fu students from those schools. Probably even at least 1 million at this point. The point is, right, in Dongfeng, anyone you pick off the streets, he probably knows some Kung Fu. So a lot of Kung Fu schools, and what they would do is they would have some sort of auditions, right? It's like if you want to join the Shaolin warrior monks, right, your Kung Fu's got to be better than most others out there, right? So they would have these auditions, and if you're good enough, right, then you get to come in the temple, right, shave your head, wear these monk robes, and perform on behalf of the temple and become a part of the warrior monks performance group. And a reality for these Kung Fu schools and these Kung Fu students are that, not every single one of them are here because of their passion for Kung Fu, right? A lot of the cases, the kids are sent to these Kung Fu schools because maybe their families aren't as well off, and maybe they can't afford regular school, so that they send them to these kind of like military boot camp style Kung Fu schools, right? Or, the kids, they might be naughty, or they might not do as well in school, so their parents sent them to these Kung Fu schools to discipline them. And also, it's a way for them to have a future, because, if you're not well educated in China, you really can't do much. But if you know Kung Fu and you're good at it, at least you could maybe become a coach yourself, or you can become a bodyguard, or a trainer for the police force or something like that. So to have a way out, right, to have a future. And so if the kid themselves aren't really that interested or passionate about what they're doing, right, and they're forced into it, that's not really a great combination, right? And plus these schools, they train these kids hardcore, like 8 hours a day, right? So imagine, right? And again, right, it's beaten into them. The kung fu is beaten into them. So again, right, it's like if you're already not really passionate about something, and then you're also forced to do it 8 hours a day, you know, under the threat of like getting beat, then you're not really going to have a great impression of that thing. So I think by the time they get to about 20 years old, right around my age, I think most of them will want to stay as far away from kung fu as they can, just because, you know, they were forced into it when they were a kid, and growing up they probably just thought that, you know, the moment I can, I want to drop this, I want to do something else, I don't like doing this, right? So I think that's like the mental damage, I guess you could say, in a way, right? When you force people to train 8 hours a day in that style, right? It doesn't create that passion, right? And plus, right, like it's impossible that there's a million people who are passionate about kung fu all in one area. So surely most or some of these students are there against their will and not because they really like it, right? And another thing is the physical aspect. So we talked about the mental aspect and also the physical aspect. So I've asked around and I've been told, right, for example, I'm 24 right now, right? And this is like physical prime, right? Your mid-20s is your physical prime. This is when you could do all the crazy stuff and still be okay. Your body still be okay with it. But what I've been told is that my age is already retirement age for the Shaolin Warrior Monks Performance Group. So how can you be already retired in only your early to mid-20s, right? Like your physical prime is your physical prime for a reason. How can you be retired during this age? This should be the age that you do the most, right? And so, well, if you look at the way they train these guys, right? They're out here doing, again, 8 hours a day of training, right? And they're doing flips and hard landings on hard floor, right? And it's, in my opinion, I'm sure there's a more scientific way of training, but the fact of the matter is they simply don't care. It's just that, like, you know, you do it or do it till you die, right? You know, basically. And so I don't know if 8 hours a day, every single day of training in this method would be the most scientific. And so, and it clearly shows, because by the time when they're like in their early 20s, they're discarded, right? They don't need them anymore, because why still keep the old guys when you could just get fresh 17-year-olds to do higher flips and, you know, fall and, you know, be still okay, right? Get up and be okay for the next show, right? So by, you know, your early to mid 20s, their bodies are already showing signs of like wear and tear, right? And that's not to say, you know, I'm not feeling it, because, you know, when I was 16 or 17, I was also doing some pretty stupid things on hard floor. So, you know, I definitely feel it, and so I definitely sympathize with these guys as well. All right, so that's like the physical. And another thing is, again, that, right, and, you know, something to back it up is that a lot of the 20-year-old, the younger monks, right, in their 20s, mid to late 20s, they're not really training all that much, which, in my opinion, you know, is a shame, right? And so I think that leads to my third point, which is burnout, right? Again, when you're forced to do 8 hours of training every single day for 10 years of your life, for 15 years of your life in your youth, the moment you can have a choice not to train, you're gonna choose that most, you know, more likely than not. And so a lot of the younger guys, and they're even, you know, they're not even 30 yet, and they just stopped training, and they're okay with losing their kung fu, right? They're just like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Oh well, like you know, you can still do it. You're only 20 something, but they're okay with, you know, they're already okay with not being able to do things, and they're already okay with losing their skills, just because, again, I think they've just been pushed so hard in their youth that they reach burnout at such an early age, in my opinion, because your early to mid or even late 20s should not be burnout age for kung fu. But yet here they are, you know, they're burnt out. They don't want to do any of this anymore. They want to do anything else but kung fu, right? So to kind of recap, right, you have like the mental, which is like, you know, you don't like doing something already, yet you have to, and you're beaten to do it. And the moment you have a choice not to, you're not going to want to do that anymore. And, you know, second is the physical, right? You do, again, it's so, you know, pushed upon you, and that your body just really can't, it's not given the time to rest. So your body kind of just like, by the time you're like, you're in your early to mid 20s. And third is the burnout overall, is just that, again, you're training so much, you're being forced to do so much, that by the time you reach just even like a really early age in your 20s, right, you get burnt out and you just don't want to do it anymore. And I do also want to get to the fourth point, which in my opinion is the most important one of all, right? Even more important than the previous three, and that is the problem with inheritance, with passing it down, right? Because when you yourself are not that passionate and you're burnt out, and you have to teach someone else the thing that burnt you out, more likely than not, you're not going to do a very great job of teaching it, right? And you can have the best kung fu in the world, but that's not going to say you're a good teacher, and that's not to say you can pass it down. And sometimes it's not about the kung fu, it's about the passion. Even if you're not as skilled, but you're passionate about that thing you do, you probably will have a higher success rate of being able to teach students better than if you were really skilled at that thing, but you don't have the passion for it. And that's kind of what I'm seeing, right? Why are certain coaches that are still so young, so, I hate to say it, but lazy? Why are they so irresponsible? Why don't they care about their students' progress? And, I was baffled by it. I really was. But now I think I've gotten a pretty clear understanding of why that may be, right? My first 3 points. Because they're burnt out, right? They're probably not even that passionate about it themselves anymore, right? Because of, again, because they're burnt out. So when it's time to teach students, they're obviously going to do the least possible to just, kind of just say, well, I taught them, I sat there and I watched them do things. Maybe I corrected them a move or two, and, I did it just to say I did it. But, it's nowhere near what you need to be able to raise good students, right? And, I've definitely had my fair share of experiences with such instructors, and honestly, you can't blame them, right? You can't really blame them, but it's just an unfortunate reality, right? That so many of these young guys, and I think they have so much potential, I really do, but it's just that, again, that they're so burnt out that they don't even see or even care about the potential they have. They're just like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I just want to be as far away from it as I can. But at the same time, because they never received the proper education, or at least most of them, kung fu is all they have. So it's like a bad relationship. It's like you don't want to do something, but that something is the only thing you know how to do. So you want to do something else, but you don't know how to do anything else. So you're stuck, right? You're kind of almost forced to do this thing. And when you're forced to do something without the passion, you're gonna do the very least. You're just gonna half-ass everything. And that's what I've been seeing, what I've been noticing from certain people. And again, you can't blame them, but it's just unfortunate. So, but right now I've finally found a very good shifu, and funny enough, his background is not like what I've talked about. He actually came from a village who did, their villagers did kung fu, right? It's a kung fu village, right? His father and his grandfather were also martial artists. So he was born and raised into a family and a community that all loved and cherished kung fu. So naturally, he started as young as he could, and throughout his life he loved kung fu. He went out and he seeked more, right? Going to different places, and now when he teaches, he is so passionate. He is willing to give up, stuff that he would usually do just to teach, and he cares about every single student. And he says that no matter how long you're with them, it could be for a day, a month, a week, a year, it doesn't matter how long you're going to train with them, he's going to do the best he can. Even if it's just for 1 hour, he'll give his all. And that's the passion you need to pass down kung fu, in my opinion. It's not about how high you can flip, it's not about how many weapons you know, it's the passion, that desire, that drive to pass down the art wholeheartedly. And actually, this is another point again, right? It's seeking more, because again, a lot of the coaches that are burnt out, they never bother to seek more themselves, because kung fu is more than just physical movements. It's all about the internals. It's about the spirit. It's about the intent. It's about the breathing. But when you really don't care about any of that, you're not going to go out of your way to seek any of that. And when you don't know true Kung Fu. So when you pass it down, even if you teach it to others, right, you're still not going to be able to give them the good stuff because you yourself never bothered to look for the true Kung Fu because you are not passionate about it anyways and you're already burnt out. So again, it's just, that's kind of the reality of things I've seen here, and it's very unfortunate in my opinion, right? I'm obviously very glad that I got myself out of that situation and found a very, 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 very good instructor, very good shifu, right? One that I can actually call master and not just an instructor or a coach, right? But just because I was able to kind of got myself out of that bad situation, it's not to say that others are not still in it. And I've seen, right, certain students are still training with certain coaches that may not be as passionate, and it saddens me because these are the people that gave up so much time and money to come all the way to China, right? These people are from all over the world. They came all the way here to China to gain a better understanding of Chinese Kung Fu, to try and improve themselves, but they're given such, you know, what's the word? But they're given just, you know, not the right tools for that, right? They want to learn more, but the instructors are just so dispassionate that they don't even really want to be there to do that for them. So they end up really, in my opinion, getting ripped off, right? They don't really get what they're seeking. And it's just, again, very unfortunate. So that's why, in my opinion, after what I've witnessed and experienced and I've seen and, you know, kind of like figured out on my own, I guess you can say. Well, not really on my own because, you know, I've been talking to people as well. But basically, that's why I no longer think that training 8 hours a day is the flex that I once thought it was. And again, that's just my own opinion based on my own experiences. So feel free to let me know if you think there are some things I'm wrong about or some other points or perspectives that perhaps I've never, never considered, right? You know, this is kind of just like, I guess you could say a discussion. So, you know, let me know in the comments if you want, or if you have anything to say about this, or, you know, if you've been to Shaolin, if you trained here before, let me know how that experience was for you, because I'm very curious, right? You know, I've heard stories of people coming here before, but, you know, I'm always happy and I'm always curious to hear more stories from other people and about their experiences here. So yeah, if you've trained here before, let me know down in the comments below if you have anything to say about this issue. Also, let me know in the comments below. So yeah, you know, just go wild in the comments. Let me know. And that's basically it. You know, just a little thought piece I figured that you guys might want to hear about, you know, but really I just wanted to kind of talk about this and maybe connect with people who also feel the same way towards this topic. So again, that's all. You know, it's a very informal video. It's not really going to be edited or anything. It's just going to be like 20 minutes straight of me talking. So if you made it this far, thank you guys so much for your attention, your 20 minutes, and thank you for, you know, actually giving a crap about what I have to say about this. And stay tuned because more is coming. I know I haven't really been active, right? But that is honestly because I am just enjoying living in the present here, right? But, you know, whenever I have time and feel like it, I will definitely pump out more content, start doing more editing. And but stay tuned because more is always coming. And thank you guys so much for going with me on my Shaolin journey, right? And it's always fun to take you guys along with me to experience the things I experience as best as, you know, I can present it to you guys. And oh, also, yeah, on Instagram, right, I do have a Shaolin dedicated account, right? It's called the Shaolin Experience. I'll put the link in the description. So if you're interested in following me just on my Shaolin experience and nothing else, that page might be for you. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys whenever I decide to upload again. But I'm always around, so, you know, feel free to DM, leave a comment, and I will always reply as early as I can. So that is all. See you guys next time. Peace.